Hello. So what I'd like to talk about is in part about augmented reality, but in general about collaboration. In design, collaboration is a very common experience, and it was one of my strongest experiences as a student. What I'd like to propose is starting an initiative to put together cross-college teams of students that would work together towards a common goal. The goal would be to bring in people from different parts of the university that may not work together otherwise. They would work on projects that have a multimodal experience. So this wouldn't be simply a site-based or simply a reading-based piece. And it could be for any discipline. So let's say there was something that wanted to be accomplished to deal with history. You could bring in students from the art college to come in and help illustrate that. You could work with dance students, with business students. Almost any combination is possible. I, of course, would want to be involved with this because it's going to be totally awesome. But we would also need other faculty advisors, right? We'd need people to come in for each specialty, basically to act as sponsors for each piece. And the first thing that I would propose would be to do augmented reality around Towson. So this would be a set of virtual installations around town. What you would need to see it would be a smartphone or tablet, even some computers, with cameras. If we were walking around, you couldn't see it with your naked eye, unless you still had a Google Glass that worked. But you could build it, put it up rather inexpensively, depending on what your installation would be about. So to kind of set that up, I'm going to talk about some of my experience as a student when I was a graduate student working in teams like this. I started as an illustrator. So in that case, I was working as an artist, working with writers. I had the pleasure of creating a museum piece for the Works Museum in Minnesota, which is a children's engineering museum. And this was one of my first experiences working in collaboration across colleges. So this is an exhibit about this large, and each of these tokens has a resistor in it. When placed in the board, it tells it to play a different musical note. When we were putting it together, we were designing for kids that would be ages 3 to 5, thinking about simple songs and song phrases. It's like as we practiced, we did Old MacDonald, Mary Had a Little Lamb, and that sort of thing. But putting it together, we had a team of 2 graphic designers, a marketing student, a mechanical engineer, and an electrical engineer. And some of them were musicians as well. We didn't know the magic that would happen. So part of any design should reach out to the users and get influenced by them. So we were doing play testing with kids. And I'm going to play a short video here and listen for what the kids do with it.
Yeah, try maybe a different look. Oh no, this one. restrictions around those points were one of like the biggest challenges we had in building this, and so there's still a little bit of like here.
So, can you pick that up? For me, this was amazing. Like, my mind was blown. Because this was free play. They were just exploring, and they must have been learning Ode to Joy in class. And they were starting to put it out in this toy that we built. So that was an unexpected result, you know? It was wonderful. And that's something that I couldn't have built on my own. You know, I was the graphic designer for the piece. I, you know, did the carvings, I treated the wood, I constructed the frame, but I'm not a musician, you know. Another great experience I had was with the Disney Imaginations project. And this is something that I've been trying to get my students to do, and I haven't had the luck yet. But Disney Imagineering runs a contest every year. It's for junior and senior undergraduates, graduate students, and recent graduates. You construct a team and try to accomplish a task put forth by Disney. As part of this team put together with a sustainable architecture student, and he designed kind of the layout of our piece. Our task was to design something for Disney in a part of the world where Disney doesn't have a footprint. So we decided to make an experience in Rio. So we had to look at the world, you know, look where Disney is, look where Disney might go. So the architecture student designed the layout. The mechanical engineer designed the car for the ride and made a CAD model showing how the vehicle would work, how it would move, based on drawings that we did together, as I was the concept artist. Our electrical engineer built this is kind of a color sampling device. It's a little hard to make it out in the picture, but if you aim this, it will take a little digital picture and grab the color value, and then we'll project it somewhere else. And then, you know, I did the illustrations and the storyboards, and we made it to the finals. So they flew us out to Disney to compete in the final contest. And 3 members of the team ended up with internships. One of them is still working there at Disney Imaginations now, building rides for Disney Shanghai. Again, this is something that I couldn't have done on my own. This is not something that was part of a class. This was extracurricular. It was worth 2 classes worth of work, honestly. But it's one of the best experiences I had in school. Okay? And when I show my portfolio, this is one of the best pieces that I show. So what would I do with the first project? I would want to do an augmented reality-based piece because this is something that I studied, and it's something that uses current technology that's, you know, real exciting for people interested in the augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality spectrum. It's a great way for students to come together and discuss how they might create something interesting. And it's an area where you can explore for contests and other tasks around the country, as they have art contests, sign contests, pretty much any mode. Here is a little bit of a video to show you kind of how it works. If you look at the screen, in the foreground is a tablet. It's a iPad mini, a little bit larger than this. In the background is a poster print. And then inside the screen of the tablet is augmented reality content that's being projected adjacent to the image. So this only exists in the screen. But as we look at it, it's being populated lively. This is the augmented reality gallery annotation process piece. So I'm beginning on the
That's why I'm
welcome
not a
screen.
video guy.
This screen will tell you what you're doing, what the next pages will be, and how to go through. So it says swipe to the left or right to view the different topics. And each page will ask a question. We're scanning this art piece in the distance there. On this first page, for intention, we see that greater detail areas and lesser detail areas are circled. They represent areas inside the painting where the clouds have less detail, the buildings have greater. And the question is, where does the artist want you to look? For technique, we're superimposing a new image over the old one. I can look at it inside the screen to see the comparison shot, or look over the display to see the original painting. There's credit given for the second piece, which gives you date information if you want to compare that or where it originated.
These were
And
images
the question
from the
here
Minneapolis
is,
Institute
how
of
do the
Arts.
artists foster different moods? Now in this last slide, we've got some information about depth perception. So for perspective, we've got two vanishing points, and they are superimposed over the artwork. We've got the vertical center line, and we've got the horizon line. The question is, what do you find when comparing the vanishing points? So in this instance, a student might be expected to find that the two vanishing points are not equidistant to each other from the center line.
Okay. So that's just a little example of what you can do with a brief augmented reality interaction. Students, they could build it according to whatever the needs are of the location. The trigger is a photograph you make of your location. So if I took a photograph of the banquet wall over there, we could then overlay content on top of that so that you see it in your device. This could be like a year-long project or a semester-long project, and then each time it would change, kind of based on what the new task is. Thank you.